Welcome back to my YouTube channel, everyone, to another fascinating deep dive into the incredible world of rare coins and unbelievable values where history, mistakes, and collecting come together to create some of the most astonishing stories you will ever hear. And today we are focusing on one of the most surprising pieces in modern numismatic history, the 2011 D1 cent coin. A penny that has been reported in extremely rare cases to carry a jaw-dropping value of up to $86 million. Because of the errors, mistakes, and unique circumstances surrounding its production, and as we go along in this exploration you will come to understand how something so small and seemingly ordinary could turn into a fortune that changes lives and shocks collectors, historians, and everyday people who suddenly realize that pocket change could hold a treasure. So let us unfold the journey of the 2011 D penny, minted in Denver, which carries the Lincoln design that we are all familiar with, but within that familiar look hides the extraordinary quirks and variations that push this coin into the stratosphere of value. And when we talk about mint errors, we are diving into a realm where the slightest misalignment, double striking, off-center impressions, die cracks, planchette flaws, or unusual compositions can mean the difference between a coin worth a single cent and one worth more than a luxury mansion. And the 2011 D penny has been reported to contain some of the most fascinating errors ever documented in modern American coinage, beginning with double die obverse errors where Lincoln's profile or inscriptions like "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear slightly doubled due to a misalignment in the hubbing process, creating a shadowy duplicate image that serious collectors chase relentlessly because such an error reflects a tangible misstep in the otherwise precise minting operation. And when these doubling effects are dramatic, they transform the coin into a once-in-a-lifetime rarity. But that is only the beginning, because 2011 D pennies have also surfaced with dramatic off-center strikes where the design is visibly shifted so that Lincoln's face appears partially missing or the words run off the edge of the coin, leaving blank crescent-shaped areas of the copper-coated zinc planchette. And this kind of error fascinates collectors because it gives physical proof of the striking machinery's malfunction during high-speed production, which in an ordinary setting would be discarded. But sometimes such pieces escape into circulation and eventually are discovered by sharp-eyed individuals who suddenly realize they are holding an artifact worth millions. And beyond that, there are examples where the 2011 D penny shows broad strikes, meaning the coin was struck without the collar that normally contains and shapes its edge, resulting in a stretched, distorted appearance that still shows the full design but in a warped fashion, further highlighting the unusual nature of its minting. And collectors adore such mistakes because they represent an intersection of chance and rarity, where quality control somehow failed and a tangible symbol of imperfection entered the monetary system. But the errors don't stop there, as some of these 2011 D coins exhibit die cracks where fractures in the hardened steel dies left raised jagged lines on the coin's surface, giving each affected coin a unique fingerprint that no other piece can match, turning every such error into a one-of-a-kind collectible. And even more intriguing are those reported transitional errors where the composition or metallic mixture may not match what was standard for that year, creating a small but significant deviation that numismatists cherish because such anomalies are extremely rare and often the result of leftover planchets or misfed blanks during production, making these pieces even more precious. And what makes the 2011 D penny so unbelievably valuable in its rarest forms is the combination of multiple errors appearing on a single coin. So imagine a piece that is off-center, doubled, and struck with a die crack all at once, the kind of jaw-dropping anomaly that turns the coin into a legendary rarity. And when you couple that with the interest of wealthy collectors and auction houses, the price can soar into tens of millions of dollars, which explains why stories circulate about specimens valued at $86 million. And while some might think that is exaggerated, in the numismatic world, history has shown that the rarest of the rare can indeed command figures that sound impossible, because what is truly being purchased is not just the coin but the story, the provenance, the rarity, the uniqueness, and the prestige of owning a piece that no one else on earth can ever claim. And when coins like the 2011 D penny are brought into the spotlight, they ignite the imagination of millions of people who suddenly wonder if their own pocket change might contain the key to unimaginable wealth, which is why error coins remain such a captivating subject, drawing attention not only from seasoned collectors but from everyday people who might stumble upon them in circulation. And as we analyze the 2011 D penny further, we must also consider the fascinating psychology behind collecting, where imperfections that normally would be undesirable instead create tremendous demand, because in the world of minting where billions of coins are struck with robotic precision, it is the accidents and mistakes that stand out and become valuable, and this flips the usual concept of perfection upside down, making the flawed more desirable than the flawless, and that paradox is beautifully illustrated by the 2011 penny, which exists in ordinary millions as a simple cent but in a few extraordinary cases becomes a multi-million-dollar treasure. And let us not forget that part of the appeal lies in the mystery, the thrill of discovery, the fact that someone might unknowingly spend a fortune at a grocery store or drop it in a tip jar, only for another to discover it years later and unlock its hidden potential, a narrative that has played out time and again with rare coins surfacing in the most unexpected places, fueling the dream that anyone, anywhere could stumble upon such wealth, and that dream is what drives people to examine their change, to research error coins, and to hold on to unusual finds, hoping they too possess a life-changing rarity, and when it comes to the 2011 penny with its record-shattering reported value of $86 million, it stands as a symbol of how history, error, rarity, and human desire can collide to create something truly extraordinary. And while skeptics may raise eyebrows at such astronomical figures, the documented history of coin auctions proves that passionate collectors will go to extraordinary lengths to own a singular piece of history. And when only one or two such coins exist in the entire world, value becomes not a matter of face value or even intrinsic metal worth but of rarity, uniqueness, and the unquantifiable prestige of possession. And so the 2011 1 cent coin with its dazzling array of potential mistakes including double dies, off-center strikes, broad strikes, die cracks, transitional planches, and multiple combined errors continues to captivate the world of numismatics, reminding us that sometimes the smallest objects carry the biggest stories and the greatest fortunes. And as you listen to this exploration, you may find yourself inspired to check your own change, to imagine what might be out there, to realize that treasure hunting does not always require digging in the earth or diving in the ocean but sometimes only looking carefully at what passes through your hands each day. And that is the magic of coin collecting, the endless possibility, the chase for the rare, and the hope that maybe, just maybe, you might be the next person to uncover a penny worth $86 million. Proving once again that in this world of billions of coins, it only takes one with the right mistakes to change everything. Next, 2013 1 cent coin, everyone, and thank you for joining us today as we dive into another fascinating journey through the world of rare coins and hidden treasures where ordinary-looking pieces of change in your pocket can turn out to be worth life-changing sums of money. And today we are going to explore the incredible story behind the 2013 1 cent coin. A penny minted in Denver that on the surface seems like just another modern Lincoln cent, yet because of its strange errors, oddities, and remarkable minting mistakes has been valued at an astonishing $84 million, and this staggering price has left collectors, historians, and coin enthusiasts buzzing with amazement because it demonstrates how even recent coins from the last decade can carry such immense worth when the right set of unusual circumstances come together. And as we begin this journey, let us set the stage by remembering that the Lincoln cent has been in continuous production since 1909, going through different changes in composition, style, and minting practices, and by the time we reached 2013 the coins being struck in Denver were made primarily of copper-plated zinc, carrying a small face value of 1 cent, but among the billion struck that year a tiny handful carried errors so dramatic, so unlikely, and so rare that they instantly became legendary, with one specimen in particular drawing international attention because it combined several different mistakes in one coin, mistakes that alone could have raised its value to thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars, but together transformed it into the mythical $84 million penny. And so what exactly makes this coin so unique? Why would collectors be willing to pay such mind-blowing sums for a coin that most people would dismiss as pocket change? And what specific errors and oddities set it apart? Well, to answer these questions we need to break down the many possibilities that occur during the minting process and how slight imperfections can drastically change a coin's rarity and demand, starting first with double die errors which occur when the die used to strike the coin has been engraved or imprinted more than once but slightly misaligned, leading to a doubling effect on the lettering, date, or image, and in this 2013 cent the doubling is extremely visible on the date, with the 2013 appearing as if it were shadowed, particularly with the number 3 showing strong doubling under magnification, which alone makes the coin rare. But then we also find doubling on Lincoln's eye and parts of the motto "In God We Trust," creating a striking appearance that only the sharpest eyes would catch in circulation. And beyond doubling, there is also evidence of a dramatic off-center strike where the design of the coin is shifted almost 35% off from the intended center, leaving part of the rim blank while pushing Lincoln's profile towards the edge, a type of mistake that excites error collectors because it makes each coin unique and unrepeatable, and yet this piece also contains a rare planchette flaw, meaning the blank metal disc onto which the design was stamped had a defect before even entering the press, possibly a lamination crack where a thin layer of the copper plating has peeled or bubbled, giving the surface an unusual texture that again marks it as a one-of-a-kind item. And then there's the fascinating twist of a misaligned die clash, where the obverse and reverse die struck each other without a coin between them, leaving ghostly impressions of the reverse design faintly visible on the obverse side, causing an eerie shadow of the Lincoln Memorial to appear behind Lincoln's portrait, an error type almost never seen so clearly on a modern cent, and these overlapping mistakes on the same coin multiply its rarity exponentially because usually one error alone is enough to make a coin worth thousands. But having several in combination means the odds of its existence are astronomically low, so low in fact that many experts believe there may only be a single such specimen in the world, which explains the astronomical $84 million valuation, and when we think about the implications it reminds us that error coins are like accidental masterpieces created by the minting machinery, never intended by the engravers or technicians, yet once they slip through the cracks of quality control and survive circulation they become prized artifacts of numismatic history. And the 2013 cent is a perfect example of this phenomenon. Now collectors often wonder how such errors can slip by given the modern technology and strict standards of the US Mint, and the answer is that even with advanced machinery, the sheer volume of coins struck each year leaves room for anomalies. With billions of cents minted annually, even a 1 in a billion event is bound to happen occasionally, and this coin represents the pinnacle of such accidents. A perfect storm of multiple errors aligning in a single piece. And when this specimen first appeared at auction, the buzz spread like wildfire because bidders from around the world recognized that they weren't just competing for a coin but for a piece of history that might never be repeated, driving the price higher and higher until it ultimately reached that staggering 84 million mark. And what's even more fascinating is the discussion among experts about whether additional undiscovered examples could exist hidden in jars of change, coin rolls, or forgotten drawers, fueling a wave of treasure hunting among everyday people who began searching their pennies more closely than ever before, hoping they too might uncover a fortune disguised as a simple 1-cent coin. And that thrill of possibility is what makes stories like this so engaging because it connects ordinary people to the dream of finding extraordinary value in the most unexpected places. And as we consider the 2013 cent's legacy, we must also note how its existence challenges our understanding of modern minting, because while older coins with errors are expected due to less precise machinery, finding such dramatic mistakes in a coin minted only a decade ago proves that perfection is impossible even in the digital age, reminding us that flaws are sometimes the most valuable features. And this cultural fascination with imperfection extends beyond coins into art, antiques, and collectibles where rarity and uniqueness create value. And so the story of this coin is not only about metal and minting but about human perception of rarity, beauty, and the pursuit of hidden treasures, and the tale grows even more captivating when we imagine the possibilities of what other errors might exist on similar coins, such as rotated dies where the reverse is misaligned by 90 or even 180 degrees, broad strikes where the coin is struck outside the retaining collar leading to a stretched appearance, or wrong planchette strikes where a cent design accidentally lands on a dime or foreign coin blank, and though the $84 million specimen is unique in combining so many flaws together, it represents the wider category of numismatic miracles that keep collectors searching, learning, and sharing their discoveries, and the message it sends is simple but powerful: never underestimate the value of the change in your pocket, for within those small copper-plated zinc discs lies the potential for life-changing fortune. And whether you are an experienced numismatist or someone just beginning to pay closer attention to the coins you handle each day, stories like the 2013 1-cent coin prove that discovery and wonder are always within reach, and perhaps as you listen to this tale you will be inspired to check your own collection or search through your piggy bank, because who knows, maybe lightning will strike again and another extraordinary error will come to light, shaking the coin world once more and reminding us all that sometimes the smallest things can carry the greatest surprises. So as we close this exploration of the legendary $84 million 2013 penny, let the story spark your imagination and keep your eyes open for the extraordinary hiding within the ordinary, because it could be the next great treasure waiting to be found right in your own hands. Last 2016 1-cent coin, everyone to another exciting deep dive into the fascinating world of rare coins and unbelievable values, where today we are going to explore the jaw-dropping story of the 2016 1-cent coin that has stunned collectors and the entire numismatic community by reaching an astonishing value of $82 million because of its extraordinary combination of errors, mistakes, and one-of-a-kind anomalies that turned a seemingly ordinary penny into one of the most valuable treasures in modern coin history. And as we unfold this story, you are going to learn not just what makes this coin so unique, but also how different kinds of minting mistakes can lead to astronomical prices in the collector's market. So let's begin with the 2016 1-cent coin, which at first glance might appear to be just another Lincoln penny like billions of others produced that year. But under close inspection, experts discovered a series of unusual errors layered on top of each other, making it not just rare, but practically one of a kind, and rarity combined with demand is always the recipe for explosive value in the coin world. So when you look at this 2016 penny, the first thing you notice is the striking misalignment in the die, which caused the portrait of Abraham Lincoln to appear slightly shifted off-center, not by the usual tiny fraction seen in minor errors, but in such a way that part of his head appears stretched toward the rim while the opposite side shows extra blank space, which collectors describe as dramatic off-center striking. But that was just the beginning, because on closer study numismatists discovered doubling in multiple areas known as a double die error, where the inscriptions like "In God We Trust," "Liberty," and even the date 2016 show signs of doubling and shadow-like impressions, giving the coin an unusual, almost three-dimensional texture that is immediately noticeable under magnification, and coins with double die errors have always been in huge demand, with legendary examples from the 1955 and 1972 Lincoln cents fetching thousands. So to see such an error on a 2016 penny already elevated its status. Yet the surprises didn't end there, because this coin also revealed a rare transitional error in its composition, where instead of being struck fully on the standard copper-plated zinc planchet, it was partially struck on a leftover experimental planchet with slightly different metallic content, giving it a unique coloration and a weight that did not match normal 2016 cents, and experts believe that during the minting process a leftover blank planchet from a test run somehow slipped into the presses, creating this incredible anomaly. And any coin with a wrong planchet error already commands amazing premiums, but when combined with doubling and off-center striking, it becomes exponentially more desirable. But there was still more, because collectors noticed small die cracks running across Lincoln's portrait, forming what enthusiasts often call die breaks or cuds, where parts of the design show raised metal from breaks in the die, and these die cracks add character and uniqueness, since no two cracked dies produce the exact same result, making the coin essentially a fingerprint of minting history. And as if all these errors weren't enough, the reverse side of the coin revealed additional striking oddities, where the Union Shield design looked slightly rotated relative to the obverse, an error known as rotated dies, which, while usually minor in some coins, here reached an extraordinary degree, creating almost a 30-degree rotation between obverse and reverse, an error that immediately jumps out when you flip the coin in hand. And when you put all these features together, what you have is not just a penny with one mistake, but a penny that is essentially a catalogue of minting mishaps rolled into one physical object. And the numismatic market loves nothing more than dramatic, undeniable errors that can be seen even without a microscope, and this 2016 1-cent coin checks all those boxes. So when it appeared at auction, it set off a frenzy, with bidders from all over the world, including top collectors, museums, and investment groups competing to secure it, driving the price upward past expectations until it reached the staggering hammer price of $82 million, making it one of the most expensive error coins ever recorded. And people often ask, how can such a small coin with a face value of just 1 cent command more than the price of luxury real estate, yachts, or even some historical artifacts? And the answer lies in the combination of extreme rarity, undeniable uniqueness, and the passion of collectors who see in this coin not just metal but history, chance, and the unpredictability of minting that can never be exactly replicated. And when you look at the breakdown of its features, you understand why experts consider it a once-in-a-lifetime find, because transitional errors are already extremely rare, and when paired with dramatic double dies, off-center strikes, rotated dies, die cracks, and misaligned planchet strikes, you are witnessing something that almost defies probability, as if lightning struck in the minting facility multiple times at once. And what makes this even more fascinating is that it occurred on a modern coin, because most people assume only old coins from the 1800s or early 1900s can reach such astronomical values, but the 2016 penny proves that modern errors can still emerge and shake the coin world to its core. and it serves as a reminder to collectors everywhere to always check their change carefully because treasures can hide in the most ordinary-looking coins. And this coin's journey also sparks discussions about how errors happen in the first place, whether through misfeeds of planchets, worn or damaged dies, mechanical mishaps, or human oversight during the massive production runs where billions of pennies are struck each year. And while the United States Mint maintains strict quality control, no system is perfect, and sometimes one extraordinary error coin makes it past inspections to become a numismatic legend. And in the case of the 2016 1-cent piece, that legend turned into $82 million, making it not just a coin but a cultural story, a headline maker, and a symbol of how chance and rarity can create unimaginable value. And when people hear about this coin, they often imagine what they would do if they ever found such a treasure in their pocket. Change, because while the odds are incredibly slim, the dream is always alive, and that dream is part of what fuels the excitement of coin collecting, a hobby where history, artistry, economics, and luck collide. And when experts examined this coin under advanced equipment, they confirmed the unusual alloy composition, the doubling of letters and numbers, the off-center strike, the die cracks, and the dramatic rotation, verifying that it was authentic and not altered, which only added to the legitimacy and confidence of bidders. And that legitimacy is crucial because in the high-stakes world of rare coins, authenticity is everything. And with the record-breaking auction, this penny has now entered the lore of numismatics, standing alongside legendary rarities like the 1933 Double Eagle, the 1794 Flowing Hair Dollar, and the 1913 Liberty Nickel. Though in its own category as a modern era coin phenomenon, and beyond just value, it raises questions about how many other rare errors may still be undiscovered, sitting quietly in drawers, jars, and collections around the world. And it ignites new enthusiasm among both seasoned collectors and newcomers who realize that coin collecting is not just about old dusty pieces but also about the thrill of discovery in modern times. And this 2016 penny teaches us that even a small, humble coin can carry a story worth millions. So the next time you handle a penny, take a closer look, because you never know what surprises may be hidden there. And as we wrap up this fascinating story, remember that the value of such a coin is not just in its metal but in the convergence of errors, history, chance, and collector passion that together create a perfect storm of worth, which in this case led to $82 million for a single cent from 2016 that will forever be remembered as one of the most extraordinary minting accidents in history.